Hi YouTube! In this video I want to show you a rugged outdoor phone from eFox. This phone is called the NO.1 M2. Comes in a standard NO.1 box with a QR code on top which will take you to the website. It also has some specs on the back that are more or less correct. Everything is correct besides the Android Lollipop. Comes with a very short English instruction manual. Comes with a 5-volt USB wall charger. It comes with a screen protector. It also comes with a micro USB data and charging cable, but be aware this connector is slightly longer than a standard connector, so it won't work with any other USB cable except this one. And last but not least, it also comes with the ultimate survival tool. I'm sure MacGyver would have loved to have one of those. It is stainless steel. I can see a bottle opener, a saw or whatever, and it also has a little instruction manual what it's for, but unfortunately it's all in Chinese. This phone has a 4.5-inch capacitive 5-point multi-touch screen with a 540 by 960 QHD pixel resolution. It looks like an IPS panel, but I do not think that it's a one-glass solution. It has the MT6582 Quad-Core CPU inside, which is clocked at 1.3 GHz. It has 1 GB of RAM, 8 GB of internal memory, and it also supports TF cards. Right now it is running on Android 4.4.4 KitKat. It is a Quadband, it is totally unlocked, and it also supports 3G on either one of the SIM cards. It has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, a GPS, a G sensor, a proximity sensor and a light sensor, but that's it. It supports off-screen gestures. It also has an over-the-air firmware update feature. I'm not sure if USB on the go is working or not, because none of my USB on the go cables will work or fit on this phone. It's supposed to be dust and waterproof with an IP68 rating. Now, in case you don't know what that means, it means that it's supposed to be dustproof with a 6 out of 6 rating, so it's totally dustproof. And it has a 8 out of 9 rating in terms of water resistant or waterproof, so it's not completely waterproof, but it's very water resistant. It's supposed to have a 2400 mAh built-in battery inside. It has 2 cameras, one main camera with a 13 megapixel output, autofocus and LED flash, and it's a f2.2. And it has one front-facing camera with a 5 megapixel output, and it's a f2.8. Of course, this phone is a dual SIM, dual standby phone. It weighs about 175 grams and it's about 14.5 mm thick. Let's take a closer look at the device. You have your front-facing camera, your proximity and light sensor right here. The home, back and menu buttons are soft touch buttons and they do not light up. We have a microphone right here and nothing on the bottom. On the left side we can see it has a volume rocker right here, and those buttons are really hard to press. On the top we can see it has a little flap, and if I remove it I can show you that it has the micro USB port right here and a 3.5 mm headphone jack. On the right side we can see the power button. On the back we can find the main camera, the LED flash, and those are your speakers. And here's a little compartment, and as you can see it takes one regular size SIM card, one micro SIM card, and it also takes one TF card. And of course it also comes with a little cover so you can screw it shut. Like always, I installed additional apps and games for demonstration purposes. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment sections below, and please stay tuned. The stock launcher is very fast, but it's not very smooth. I've definitely seen better. The good news is the firmware is very clean. There's absolutely no bloatware installed. It also has the weather chip that everybody likes, and we also have some different themes that we can apply, which is good news. But let's start by going into the settings. Let's go into about the phone. Right here we can see that it's running on Android 4.4 KitKat. And also right here we can find the wireless over-the-air firmware updates if there are ever any available. Let's go back into the settings. What else do we have here? Let's check out the languages and input. Let's see which languages are supported on this firmware. Let me just scroll through them so you can see if your native language is supported or not. Now those are all the languages. Back into the settings. Next up we can check out the storage. Now here's some bad news. The memory is split up into two partitions. It has an internal memory and it also has a phone storage, so you cannot use the entire memory to install apps and games. Back into the settings. What else do we have here? Somewhere right here we have something called capacity wake up. Now those are the off-screen gestures, so you can draw different symbols to start different apps. Let's just give it a try. Let me turn off the display. Let me swipe down. And when I swipe down, it should start the camera, or I can swipe up and that should start Google Maps. So this is working just fine. Back into the settings. Let's see what else do we have here. Let me go into more. Right here we can go into mobile networks and you can see that you can freely choose which one of these SIM cards is supposed to be the 3G data SIM card. And let me cancel that and go back. And I can also show you that you can freely select which SIM card is to do what for voice calls, video calls, messaging, and the data connection is off. Next up, let me go into the engineer mode for you. Right here I can show you the supported bands. Let me go into the band mode, and as you can see it is a quad band, and those are your 3G frequencies, so please make sure to check with your service provider if your 3G frequency is supported. Back into the stock launcher and let's start with some Google apps. Let's see, somewhere we have the Play Store installed and it comes right out of the box and it's working just fine, so the Play Store is not a problem at all. We can also test YouTube. Let me skip that. Let me turn down the volume. Let me sign in. I'm sorry, this is the first time I'm doing this. Let's just play a random video. Let's check out the quality settings, and we can play videos up to 480p, and of course we can also watch in full screen and it's running smoothly, so YouTube is not a problem at all. We can also test Google Maps. Found my location right away, and I know that has nothing to do with GPS, but I'm just showing you that so you can see that all the Google apps are working, including the location services. Now here is the Street View, and Street View is working just fine, but as you can see there is no compass mode because this phone does not have a magnetic field sensor. Enough about the Google apps, let's check out some system infos. Let's see what Antutu has to say. I'm not sure if it remembered the score. No, it didn't. So let me start it and stop it and go back. And that should show the latest score that I had. Let me go back, and there we have it. It scores at 18,897 points, which is normal for this CPU. Let's check out some system info. Right here we can see it's running on Android 4.4.4 and the CPU and the GPU, the QHD resolution. The rear camera has a 13 megapixel output, but I'm pretty sure those megapixels are not real. We have 1 GB of RAM. Let's see, we have some display settings right here. We can test the multi-touch. And as you can see, it is a 5-point multi-touch. And let me scroll down to the sensors. Now here are the few sensors that are actually supported. But of course we can also test the sensors by going into the Android sensor box. Join no, no, go back. And we can see that it has an accelerometer, also known as the G sensor. We have a light sensor. Let me give that a try. And as you can see, the light sensor is working just fine. And we have a proximity sensor. Proximity sensor also working just fine. but those are the only sensors that are available. No orientation sensor, no temperature, no gyroscope, no magnetic field sensor, and of course we also have a sound sensor, so we can test the microphone, and of course the microphone is also working just fine. Let's check out CPU-Z for more system information. Right here we can see that it's running on 4 cores and it's clocked up to 1.3 GHz. And again we have the few sensors that are available right here: accelerometer, proximity and light sensor. But that's all the sensors this phone has. Let's test the Wi-Fi signal strength. And to give you an idea how good or bad it is, let's compare it to my Xiaomi Mi 4. And it has a stronger Wi-Fi reception than my Mi 4, which is pretty impressive. Next up, let's do more benchmarks. Let me clear some memory first, and let's start the Neenam benchmark. And of course this is boring, so I'm gonna do a jump cut. And it scored at 47.1 frames per second, which is okay, but definitely not a highlight. One more benchmark test. Let's do Quad-Core standard benchmark. Let's run the full benchmark test, and again I'm gonna do a little jump cut. Almost done. And the score is 7,199 points. Let's go back into the launcher. What else do we have here? Let's check out the gallery. Let's just pick some wallpapers and let me flick through them. And that is working very fast, even though I have a very slow SD card inserted. And the picture quality is actually very nice. Colors, contrast and the viewing angles is also okay. So the display is not that bad after all. Let's just check out some videos. Let's go into my video folder and start my standard 1080p video recorded in a MKV format. And it's playing smoothly, so video playback also works great. What else can we test? Let's see what we have here. Let me start the browser. Let me go into my bookmarks and let me load the BBC homepage. And I'm loading the desktop site already to see how this phone can handle larger websites. Zooming is no problem. Rotation speed is okay. So browsing is not a problem at all with this phone. Let's check out the camera real fast. Let's take a very quick sample picture right here. Let's see how the picture looks like, and it's looking very nice, but please make sure to check out some sample pictures on my blog. Last but not least, let me tell you what I'm thinking about this phone and do a couple other things. Thanks for watching and please stay tuned. Some thoughts about this device. The build quality is very good. It feels really solid, it feels very rugged, and it looks and feels like it could take a lot of abuse. The display is just okay. Colors, contrast, brightness, nothing to complain about, but the pixel resolution is pretty low and the touchscreen is definitely not one of the most responsive ones. The performance of the MT6582 is still okay, but this SoC is pretty much last year, so there are definitely better MediaTek SoCs available now. The Wi-Fi reception is very good, I really can't complain in this department. The GPS is just okay. It is fast, it seems to be very steady, but the reception strength is just average. The GSM and 3G reception is very good, at least with my service provider and in my area, but the call sound quality is not so good. Some people told me that they can't hear me very well. I guess that has something to do with making the microphone waterproof as well. The speaker is loud, but it sounds crappy. The camera picture quality is something you need to judge for yourself, so please make sure to check out some sample pictures on my blog. You can find a link in the video's description. The LED flash is very bad. I mean, in my opinion, it is absolutely unusable. Also, there is no notification LED and this phone does not have a magnetic field sensor. I mean, come on, this is supposed to be an outdoor phone and you can't even use it as a compass. A built-in non-replaceable battery is also definitely not one of the highlights. But then again, this phone is very cheap. Right now it is selling for about 85 euros and it's really rugged, but those are pretty much all the highlights I can think of. Last but not least, let me try to show you the viewing angles of this device, do a little gaming and also give this phone a little bath to see how it can handle a little water. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you next time. Okay, let's test if this phone can take a little water. Let me just go into the gallery. Let me go into my wallpapers and start a little slideshow. Now here we go. Here's the phone and the bowl. And now let's give it a little water and see if it will survive. It's under the water. It looks like the phone is still alive. Of course I cannot operate it underwater, but it's looking good. Let me take it out and dry it off and see if it's still working. And yes, it is working just fine. So I'm guessing it is waterproof. I don't know if it's 100% waterproof, but I'm sure it can definitely survive a toilet dump.